Okay, so today we have some pretty insane and dramatic stories that I found while scrolling, and I'm gonna be just exploring in my Minecraft world, building a farm, and yeah, just gathering materials. Okay, so our first story is from the subreddit r/am I the asshole, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for not wanting to go to an amusement park with my friend because she is plus size?" Hi, so I am probably going to get hate based on the title alone, but read the whole post please. I am 21, female, and have a childhood friend, 22, female. We live near a big amusement park in our state, and every summer since we were kids, we have gone together pretty often. Ever since we were teens, she's been pretty curvy or plus size, and that's fine by me. But recently, she's put on a lot more weight. Again, I don't care about this at all, it means nothing to me. However, it's created an issue with going on the rides and attractions at the amusement park. We haven't been to the park in around a year. Our first time back was last week. When we were there, I discovered that most of the rides we used to love going on, she can no longer fit in them. Others, she can technically fit, but doesn't want to ride them because the seat belts feel too uncomfortable. There are very few rides left that she can go on without an issue. Also, we went on a ride recently where two people share a bench type of seat. It was extremely uncomfortable since there wasn't much room for me, and I felt like I was being crushed most of the ride. It honestly felt unsafe. There's also been an issue with her eating my food while we were there. Like, for example, I will buy some popcorn or something at the amusement park. She will buy her own stuff and then ask to try mine. Usually she will eat it all if I don't stop her. I may get hate for this part, but she sometimes gets dirty looks or pointed at when we are together, because people are judgmental. This makes me sad for her and just uncomfortable overall. She's been asking if I want to go to the amusement park this weekend, and I really don't see the point because we won't be able to go on most of the rides. I feel terrible though and don't know how to say I don't want to go. Should I suggest some other activity? I feel like she'll get suspicious because I love the amusement parks and usually always wanted to go during the past summers. I'm not entirely sure why she wants to go there so badly if most of the attractions do not work for her anymore. Edit. Here's some clarification. I have been asked a few questions repeatedly, so I want to clarify. It was asked if she can wait for me while I ride certain rides. I brought this up once and she said she doesn't really want it because that would be boring for her since the lines are so long, and I totally understand where she's coming from. Also, people are taking what I said about stealing food and shaming me for her weight and eating habits. I want to say that ever since we were children, she has had the habit of taking other people's food, and she was not overweight at the time. I mentioned it because it was something she typically does at amusement parks. I've been told that it's not fair to say I am uncomfortable when people stare at her or say mean things. This has happened a couple times, mostly by groups and kids of teens. Do people want me to be happy when my friend is getting this treatment? Yes, it's more important how she feels, not me. But I am not her and can't speak for her. It seemed to bother her though, and I once yelled at those people who made comments to her, and she said she appreciated that, as she is more reserved than I am, so may not have been comfortable telling them off herself. For those asking why she still wants to go to this park, there's 2 to 3 rides she still goes on without much issue. She usually wants to just repeat the ones when we go. I would be okay to do this sometimes since I like those rides, but if we go every week, which is super normal for us in the past summers, this begins to feel like a waste of money and no longer as fun. Thanks. So, am I the asshole? Okay, honestly, pretty tough situation to be in. I mean, one part of you just wants to save money or go somewhere else that's better, but it seems like your friend does really like this place, and it is also a tradition. What I would say to do is just go there once, maybe twice, honestly just once at most because of the cost. And if you're gonna go on rides alone, I mean, what's the point of even hanging out? And if it's also a financial thing, and I know that amusement parks are pretty expensive, yeah, you should probably just go there once and tell your friend to go somewhere else. I guess the tough part would be saying why you'd want to go somewhere else to your friend, but I'm sure there's many other fun things to do during the summer. Anyways, without further ado, let's hop into our next story. So this post is titled, "Am I overreacting for making my girlfriend leave family dinner early because of a dog?" This one's pretty short, but it's also pretty funny, so let's hear it. I've been dating my girlfriend for about a year now, and this is my first time meeting this part of her family. She recently moved in with her grandparents, who have weekly family dinners at their daughter's house once a week. Let's call the daughter Kathy and her husband Chase. Now, Kathy and Chase have a smaller but not small dog named Buddy. My girlfriend warns me about Buddy, She tells me not to pet him as he will growl at you and bite your hand. Okay, got it. Don't touch the dog. Easy. At least that's how I thought it would be. So we get into the gate and start walking up to the house, and the dog comes and blocks the door barking. Okay, normal dog behavior. Then it's been 5 minutes and he hasn't moved. Kathy laughs at us and tells us to come in. My girlfriend and I stay put until she moves the dog. We come in, I sit down, and my girlfriend goes to get chocolate milk. We were walking back to the table and the dog charges her and full on tries to attack her. I'm not scared of dogs, and I have never been scared of a dog until now because I have never seen a dog try to attack someone like that until now. They yell at him and put him away. Okay, so that's good, he's put away. 10 minutes later, he's let back out. She makes me go this time. I go to the fridge and open it. He's at the edge of the kitchen and we have a stare down. I am terrified. I walk on the wall next to him and run over to get my girlfriend. He goes under the table next to Kathy, and then I walk back up to get a cup and he charges me and tries to attack me. Okay, he gets put away again. Now, he's crying to get out and they are just laughing about how he is spicy and about how funny it is that her grandpa has a huge scar on his ankle from the dog. Now, do I have a stick up my ass to say none of this is funny? I was very uncomfortable, and I understand it's their home, but you know your dog is going to attack people unprovoked. Why would you let him out with people there? If you know he's gonna get anxious, why have him out? Oh, and they let him out again, to which he then charged my girlfriend again, and that time they didn't even put him away. I was obviously very uncomfortable, and my girlfriend and I left early because I couldn't stand being there anymore, having them laugh at me and be scared. Okay, so first of all, that family is insane, bro. What are they doing? They are just trolling this guy and they are not putting the dog away, even though he's obviously causing a ruckus. Honestly, not overreacting. If I were them, I would just eat the dog. I'm joking, I would not do that. But still, like, just put that away, bro. Why are you keeping that out? Alrighty, now moving on to our third story. This one is more dramatic and it is actually pretty insane, so let's see it. This one comes from the subreddit r/amItheasshole, and it is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my fiance that I have no interest in fixing our relationship? I, 32 female, have been with my fiance Heath, 33 male, for 10 years now, and we have a 1.5-year-old son together. I also have a 13-year-old son from my previous marriage. These issues started when I was pregnant. I'm not sure how much backstory is important, so I will just include what I think is the reasoning for my feelings now. Please ask questions." So, when I first got pregnant, he started talking about wanting to move closer to his family. I told him it had to wait because I didn't want to be moving 7 years worth of stuff while pregnant. And 2 months later, I end up on bed rest with placenta previa. Well, I didn't know it, but he stopped paying rent when I left my job. So we were evicted 2 months later and became homeless. I had to send my oldest to live with his father because I was now living out of my vehicle and we weren't able to find another rental until literally 2 days after I gave birth to our son. Also, during the end of my pregnancy, up until our son was around 5 months old, Heath was just gone all the time. He was off with his coworkers or his mother, who wants nothing to do with our child, by the way, and completely ignores the baby every time she is here, and simply tries not getting Heath to leave the house with her for twice weekly mommy-son dates. And I essentially raised our son alone during that time with the help of my oldest son, which mentally destroyed me because it was not my son's job. And we have been engaged for 6 years, and I keep asking Heath, when are we going to start planning our wedding? And he always has an excuse. I think there are 3 major things, but again, ask questions. So, a month ago, Heath got promoted and we had a celebration for him with all his coworkers and his mom, of course. He was pretty drunk, I was sober. After everyone left, he admitted to me that 1, he intentionally didn't pay for rent and made us homeless because he didn't want to raise our child in our old apartment. I already thought this and confronted him on that during the time we were living in my vehicle, but he always denied it and said I was crazy to think he would do that. He said he simply didn't calculate logistics and openly admitted that he just jumped the gun and didn't realize we would be homeless that long. I was supposed to be on bed rest, but instead, I was sleeping in the front seat of a vehicle for 5 months and suffered massive medical issues as a result. Swellings in my legs to a point of not being able to walk. Satienta pilonidal cysts in constant pain. He said he doesn't regret it at all, and that everything turned out fine. 2. He admitted that when he was gone all the time near the end of my pregnancy, up until our son was like 5 months old, that his coworker got him pretty hooked on cocaine and he didn't want to stop because it was his last hoorah, before being tied down completely and not being able to do anything because we had a baby who needed him. He said he didn't plan to do it as long as he did it, but he can't change now, so whatever. Explains why we were always broke. I cried and begged this man for months to come home and help me. Whole time he's blowing cocaine. And 3, said that he sees zero benefit to marriage and thinks we should just have a party and call it a day, without the legal paperwork and government oversight to our relationship, and that's the worst part. When I said all of this really upset me, he laughed, said I was overreacting and that everything turned out great, and then heavily sighed and was like, felt great to get that off my chest. And then he tried sleeping with me. Ever since this stuff was brought to my attention, I have never been more grossed out by him. I have been sleeping on the couch and he has been playing non-stop damage control. He even offered to start planning our wedding if I just give him one more chance to prove himself. Claims it was just stupid mistakes and that he would take it all back if he could, but that nothing bad happened, so he doesn't understand why I'm so bothered. But I want nothing to do with him, and that was solidified when just a week ago he allowed his mother to watch our child for 2 hours without my knowledge. I had an interview and this was the first time he was ever been left alone with our kid for longer than half an hour, and he had errands to run that he'd been putting off for 2 months and chose this specific day to handle everything. Him and I have already agreed that his mother would never be unsupervised with our baby. He didn't even tell me. I came back home and she was already there with my son, sitting on her phone while he stood on the edge of the couch saying, "Mimi, look," and she was blatantly ignoring him. He then begged to be all lovey-dovey last night and I said no, like I have been saying for a month. He tries every single night. He starts crying and says that he feels like I hate him. I told him I do and that I am just sticking around long enough to get money saved to leave and listed everything above. I told him I have zero interest in fixing this. He is sending texts today saying this can be fixed and with therapy and honesty, which I think is hilarious given the situation. But I don't want him. My friends and family seem to think I'm jumping the gun here because he has been fantastic since he apparently stopped doing cocaine, but I can't get past it. I don't want to. Am I the asshole? Okay, honestly, this is a tough one. If I were her, I would low-key just leave if you have a sustainable income. But dude, that is a lot to think about. There is so much factors that are in this situation, like finances, the kids growing up, father figures, like it's just wild. But honestly, this should just be domestic abuse at this point. What is this father doing? Like, lock in, bro. There's no way you're letting your wife do all this, making her homeless while she's pregnant even. Like, just based off that, I would leave. That's insane. Honestly, I hope she's doing well, this mother, and I hope OP does find out what to do and that she and her kids have a bright future because no parent deserves a partner like that. Okay, now time for our last story. This one is also from the subreddit Am I Overreacting? And it's titled, "Am I Overreacting by Not Wanting to Conceive a Child with My Husband After He Screamed at Me for 20 minutes over nothing?" Alright, this one's already starting to sound pretty juicy, so let's just jump right into it. We, 35 male and 35 female, have been married 2 years, together for 4, and we are actively trying to get pregnant. But after this incident, I'm feeling hesitant. Like the title says, he screamed at me in hysterical rage, fist pounding, yelling obscenities for roughly 20 minutes in the car on a drive home, and for the first time, I felt like he might hit me. Let me say, I have never felt like he would hit me before, but the level of rage he was at made me think, is this how violence in a relationship starts? My body tensed up and I was internally freaking out. I want to point out, I do not raise my voice during the conversations or during his yelling, and was surprisingly calm throughout this. I was truly scared and I didn't want to provoke any violence or him driving off the road. This isn't the first time he's gone 0 to 60 over something trivial. Almost all of our disagreements turn into him raising his voice at me, interrupting me, and his hands will be shaking like he's losing control of himself. I think he has a big fear/rage over being misunderstood. The incident in the car was the worst of it all, and I'm starting to think it could be because neither of us could get away. To be fair, in the beginning of our relationship, I would also raise my voice in arguments in response to his anger. But I'm not usually like that, and I felt so ashamed for behaving that way. I've been in therapy and on meds for a few years and have worked on how to be better, and for the past year, I've been having great success, even despite his outbursts. Anyway, I obviously don't want to bring a child into this. It made me so sad to think he could yell at our child like this over something insignificant. What happens when it's not? And I don't want a child witnessing him yelling at me like that either. It's been a few days since this happened, and I told him I was afraid he'd hit me in the moment. He said he would never, but I haven't mentioned anything yet about warning to stop having children until he gets help for this. I've been asking him to go to therapy for years, but he thinks therapy is a scam. I'm afraid this will never get better if he doesn't heal whatever is causing him to act like this. We tried couples therapy before getting married, but that kind of fell apart after a few sessions. Am I overreacting to this outburst by wanting to pause getting pregnant? Is this really how domestic violence starts? Like, am I underreacting? If anyone wants context on the argument, this is it. So basically, we were having a conversations about a doctor's appointment we are going to have regarding getting pregnant. He was telling me he thinks the doctor will give us two options, option A and option B. I agreed and said that even if the doctor gives us option B, I'm not comfortable doing that, so it's essentially off the table as an option. For some reason, he did not understand this and decided I misunderstood what he was trying to say. So he re-explained himself about 3 times before I was getting completely confused because I couldn't figure out what else he could possibly mean, other than the doctor would probably give us 2 options and I didn't want to do one of those options. I started asking questions to try to get a better understanding and make sure I was hearing him right. And this is when he flipped and started screaming at me at the top of his lungs, accusing me of not understanding him. The fact that I don't want to do option B did not appear to be the problem, just putting it out there. Yeah, okay, this is a rough one. I mean, at this point in life, it is pretty late to get pregnant, if I'm going to be honest. You're already late 30s, and considering their age and the situation, this should be solved immediately. I'm not sure if you actually hate your partner that much to leave, but I definitely would agree it might not be the best idea to have a kid when the husband cannot control his temper. If I'm gonna be real, you're not overreacting. I wouldn't run away, say I would try to help him out. I mean, seems like he has some mental issues, but I would not have a child with this type of crybaby behavior. And in the argument, I don't think you even need the context. It's just a matter of how the father is behaving. Or sorry, the husband is behaving. Like if he's actually in hysterical rage, fist pounding and yelling obscenities for 20 minutes, I mean, it gets to a point, right? So yeah, I would not have a child with this dude. And definitely not overreacting here. Anyways, that's it for this story time. I mean, I hope you guys liked this one. Please consider subscribing if you do want more. I make these and voice these videos completely by myself manually. No AI use, so I would appreciate if you do support this channel. Anyways, let me know what you think about these stories, and I'll see ya.